Okay, Rabotai, Baruchim B'Shem Hashem, Baruchim Aba'im B'Shem Hashem. We are, this is what, the sixth or seventh session that we have on Shalom Bayit. And again, everything is based on Rav Wolbe's Ve'adim that he used to give to newlyweds. But I think, the messages are very much applicable for all of us. I myself have learned and grown from it. So I was preparing tonight's shiur, and it just reminded me that this, non-religious person, that when I gave him some of these insights, is it possible at all for any from like in the Torah Jews to have Shalom Bayit problems? He was saying this is not doable. He was saying really this is not doable. So we think it's easy to be a Ben Torah, but it's not easy. If you really follow what he says, what the Torah tells us how to have Shalom Bayit, it's scary. So last night I was at the wedding, and they asked me to say a few words. So I told them, what Meir Parmishlan says, a beautiful insight in the Parsha of this week, Parshat Hanan. We had the Ten Commandments, Aseret HaDibrot. And right after the Ten Commandments, Aseret HaDibrot, are over, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, right, you stay here with me. And he says, tell the Jews, Shuvu lachem la'alechem. You should go back to your tents, which seems to be totally extra. Why? The Torah doesn't waste any words. Does Hashem need to say that, after, that they should go back to their tents? It's obvious. Does Hashem have to tell, go to Moshe Rabbeinu, you go to Paro? Obviously, when you're done, you go back. Does he have to tell him afterwards, go back to your home? There is no reason for the Torah, after it finishes the Ten Commandments, to say, Shuvu lachem le'ohelechem. Rav Ben David has a sefer, I didn't read it, the title is Shuvu lachem le'ohelechem, and my guess is it's based on this saying of Meir Parmishlan, one of the giant Hasidic leaders. So he says an unbelievable thing. He says that Ma'amad Har Sinai was something one-of-a-kind scene. Something that would, it was once in the whole history, and its impressions are eternal. Right? Rambam says that it's impossible for somebody that his neshama was on Har Sinai, and he says all the Jewish neshamot were there, that would ever, leave their emunah. Rambam says it's impossible. So according to him, a lot of Jews that unfortunately assimilated could be their neshamot were not there. I mean, they had just come into religion and somehow. So it's impossible. The impression was eternal. So Meir Parmishlan says, all that impression that you got on Har Sinai, take it home. Take it home. It has to be translated the way you treat your spouse, husband and wife, both of them. Men were there and women were there. Hashem told them, you see what you got here, Ma'amad Har Sinai? All that energy, all that awesome scene, and that we said that the impression was eternal. If you don't, you have to take it home. This is all about taking those teachings home to the Ohel. Ohel is the house. We see by Sarah, where is Sarah? By Ohel. Ohel symbolizes a Jewish home. Bilam says, Ma tovu alacha Yaakov. He's talking about what? Alacha Yaakov. He's talking about the Jewish families, homes. So it's not supposed to be easy, but it's really, I think this person is right. If you would really take these teachings seriously to heart, as a Ben Torah, it could really transform everybody's Shalom Bayit. And that's why, they say, yes, get also is in the Torah, but it's, the Hebrew word for a divorce, which is a get, gimel, and tet, these two letters do not come together in any other Hebrew word. There's a message there. That's what Tosafot brings it. There's a message. Hashem says yes. Divorce, it's only if you tried everything. If there is not one stone that didn't leave unturned, then this is an option as well. But it's not something that the slightest up and down, talaq, right? Anyway, so we saw the last session that we had, like practical Kabbalah, which is really eye-opening. We saw that the Mekubalim say that the Zachar is what? Chesed. So Zachar is Chesed. Right? Zachar is Chesed, it's kindness. And the a woman is Din. Din, judgment. That's what the Mekubalim say. Now the Mekubalim tell you, the Chesed constantly has to give hashpah, has to give to Din. Chesed has constantly to be giver, to give to Din. Din demands. Judgment demands. Rabbi says, everybody has midat hadin in the house. Din is demanding. Whatever, right? That's what they say, right? But you see, it's not to get into arguments. The husband has to know, I'm chesed. What I have to do, I have to give. I have to be a giver, to give and give to Din. By doing that, we are going to turn Din into Rachamim. And Rabbi said also physically, it's the husband, he's the giver of the sperm, and the woman is the receiver. And in the womb, you have in the rechem, which is the womb, a baby is developed. Right? The womb is called rechem because of rachamim. What happens, right? When the din receives, right? When the chesed gives and din receives, then you have rachamim. So Rav Wolbe says, yes, Yedidi Hayakar. He says, Hagever chayav ladat sheyesh lo tziyur chay. Be'ezrat Hashem, after this series are over, I don't know if when, but I'm going to have, Rav Wolbe has a booklet. Rav Shlomo gave it to me for ladies. So we are going to have a, if I find,
Good idea, I like.
I hope they would come. Right? I would want to give a series and also to put it on YouTube. Anyway, so because a few people that get also that saw it, they contacted me and said, "What about the ladies?" I said, "Okay, it's coming." Be'ezrat Hashem. So listen to this. I don't know how women would react to this that they are din. But he says, "V'hagever chayav ladat sheyesh lo tziyur chay shel midat hadin imo babayit." He has to know that he has midat hadin in the house. והוא צריך ללמוד כיצד להתנהג איתה. He has to know how to treat this midat hadin, lovely midat hadin that he has in his house. והנה הצדיקים יודעים שכאשר מידת הדין מקטרגת, רחמנא בן מידת הדין comes and like the DA demands, what do? You don't combat it with din. You don't argue. Rachmana litzlan, what do? Mukhrachim lahamtik et adinim. You see the tefillot constantly we read about mituk adinim. You have to sweeten the din. You have to sweeten the din. Not din. No. You have to sweeten mituk adinim. That's what we have to do. Lahamtik adinim. Im al yidei tefillah, or al yidei ma'asim tovim. Through tefillah or ma'asim tovim. ומתוודים על עוונותיהם. Through tefillah and ma'asim tovim. There's a story about there was a couple talking about tefillah and ma'asim tovim. So there was a couple that always when the woman she would make cholent, right? She wouldn't put enough fat in the cholent. Always the husband wanted her to put more fat in the cholent, and she had the closet those days, and she would keep the fat there. So what would happen? But she was very frum. So Friday afternoon, after she would put the cholent and everything on the fire, etc., so she would take Tehillim. She was reading her Tehillim. So once she was reading the Tehillim, the husband would go every week. He would go, Yawashagi would go to the thing, would take another piece of fat and put it in the pot. And every Shabbat morning, you see, she would say that it was enough fat, you're complaining. So once finally the husband tells her, you're right, but he says, Bizchut, your tefillah and my ma'asim tovim. Because your tefillah saying Tehillim and my ma'asim tovim, Baruch Hashem, the cholim always has enough fat. So the tefillah and ma'asim tovim goes a long way. So he says, with midat hadin, you don't, and you see, you should know, Chazon Ish always said, the atmosphere, the avira in the house has to be light. It has to be light. It shouldn't be like, it's not, it has to be really light. I mean, jokes that, are appropriate. That a lot of times, a lot of ladies don't appreciate, marriage jokes, etc. Anyway, so he says, what do we have to do? מוכרחים להמתיק את הדינים. אם על ידי תפילה על ידי מעשים טובים ומתוודים על עוונותיהם. And he said, when the midat hadin is mekatreg, what do? We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? We try to do more mitzvot, right? And you make a chatati aviti pashati. That's how you get rid of mitzvot hadin, midat hadin. So this is what you should do at home. You should daven for Shalom Bayit, and right, umodeh ve'ozev yerucham. It says if a person makes a confession and lets go, there's going to be compassion. So that's what you want to bring about. בדיוק כך צריך הבעל להתנהג כשהוא מותקף. So this is exactly the way a husband should act. בדיוק כך צריך הבעל להתנהג כשהוא מותקף על ידי אשתו. When he's attacked by his wife, and I believe it happens, right? בדיוק כך צריך הבעל להתנהג כשהוא מותקף על ידי אשתו. When he's attacked by his wife, you don't argue. Don't argue. You remember we said, את הכוכבים לא סופרים, את הים לא חורשים, ועם האישה לא מתווכחים. The same way you're not going to count the stars and plow the ocean, you do not argue with your wife. Arguments are, you're wasting your time. So, בשום אופן לא להתרגז ולכעוס. No way to get angry, right? ולצעוק לאומתה. Like a shouting match. To scream against her. Oh, פרה טובה לצד העולם, גנבנה של העולם, right? That's a normal reaction. בשום פנים לא להתרגז ולכעוס. הרי על ידי זה הוא רק יגביר, because what you do, right, instead of being chesed, when you want to answer din with din, what happens? You're going to make it worse. Right, he has to keep cool, stay calm. Right, יברר איתה, I said, honey, what's the problem? What are you saying I did that was wrong? This, and you should honestly see if a lot of times there is a point there. So I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Right? So he says, יברר איתה בדיוק. במה הוא חתר נגדה? חתרתי, אביתי פשוט. What did I do? Right? To see exactly what causes the fight, what causes the anger. ויבדוק עצמו היטב. הנחודה והכלי, you should check to see, maybe she's right. Right? ואם כך, לבקש את סליחתה. If yes, you should ask for forgiveness. Right? בכנות, sincerely. And to say, okay, fine, I did this, and just to wash the floor, I didn't know, I stepped, I'm sorry, next time I won't do it, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll try, right? So, ולא ירפה ממנה עד שתתפייס, and he should not let go, and not to have a silent treatment, this and that. He says, ולא ירפה ממנה, he should not let go of her, right, till she smiles and she is appeased. حالا می این شالوم شماتون, جای خوبش. Fine. Veda Chatan Yakar. Now, this was pretty much the Chazara. We repeated something, I think, most of this we said last, but I wanted to go over it. Tonight we have something that it's going to blow fuses. Guaranteed.
As if it hasn't. We don't have any more fuses.
Veda Chatan Yakar. He says, look, If you do not, my dear Hatani, says Rav Wolbe, if you do not follow baderech shehitveti lecha, on the path that I taught you, elatit akesh, and you want to be stubborn to prove to her that you are right, right? Yimoshech hariv beinechem, I guarantee to you, it's going to continue, and I guarantee to you, Zegam yisurei gehinom mamash. You are going to feel Jahannam in your life. He says, I promise you. He says, I promise you. And he says, it could, and he said, Gehinom has 7 levels. He says, I guarantee to you, you're going to reach the bottom level of Gehinom. Right? He says, on the first editions, I didn't incorporate this. I thought it's going to scare off a newlywed, the guy that is about to get married. But he says, but now, he says, what can I do? Rov hanisyonotim zugot tzeirim, when I had a lot of experience with young couples with the Shalom Bayit problems, I have to tell them that. They have to be prepared. This is what's going to happen. If you don't follow chesed, right, chesed, rachamim, and chesed, you have to give and give din. It's like clash. Don't answer din with din. That's what he's saying. Don't answer judgment with judgment. He says, I'm telling you, if you don't do that, right, he says, this is a metziut chaye nisun, this is a reality, right? He says, ta'uyot ha'isha, he says, ladies make a lot of mistakes, but don't expect the ladies to say, I'm sorry. And they're going to make mistakes. And he says, this is part of the nof shel chaya nisuin. Nof is like scenery. This is a scenario, this is a scenery that you should expect. וטובה גדולה היא בשביל בני הזוג, אם בן הזוג יודע מראש, and it's good for any couple that they know ahead of the game. He's talking even to the couples that did not get, this is a chatan that is about to get married. He says it's good for that they should know that ahead. כמצב כזה בו יבוא, these kind of situations guaranteed are going to come up. And if he doesn't know how to act, and it's din, he wants to counter din with din, he says, right, I told you where it's going to get. But if you follow my instructions, yarbe shalom. This is if you react properly as I told you, then this is going to bring Be'ezrat Hashem Shalom Bayit v'yedan emanam im ha'ba'al b'shat hariv lo mitrakez ela lehefech. And again, not to, calmness begets calmness. And the calmness has to start from the husband. Because he is chesed, she is din. Or what the Gemara says, right? Man is dirt, she is what? Bones. Bone is hard, dirt is not. Right? If you have complaints, complain to the manufacturer, right? Ela lehefech, right? He says, "Umnam im ha'ba'al b'shat hariv lo mitragez." If he doesn't get angry, ela lehefech b'savlanut, right? With patience. He is the one who has to have patience. I mean, I just had a couple. There was a case with some. So the husband got very angry and he tore a lot of things. I don't want to say what he tore. So she came to me. He says, "Oh, mard asabani mish." I was shocked. Anyway, this is the Torah tells us the hefech, that the man, he is the one who's supposed to have patience. You see, it goes against our culture. You see, I was speaking on Shabbat about boy-girl issues. Definitely, there's a cultural thing in our community, like, everybody wants boys. And I said, when my mother, I remember, I couldn't believe it. My mother is very tzunua, she was sitting in the back. So one of my cousins said, Amme, mage dukhtar avardim un tane shesti. But this is part of the culture. This is not Torah. This is definitely not Torah. The same thing here. You see, it's a cultural thing. I remember at the beginning of my career back in Baltimore, there was a guy that, he would get angry and he would break things, right? So I called him and I said, you come, we learn Gemara. Gemara says, if somebody breaks or tears something, this and that, it's like Avodah Zarah. How could you do such a thing? So what do you want from me? He says, when I was a kid, I would see my father would get angry. My mother would bring a china and say, take, and break it. My mother would give it to my father. So this is what you have to act. You get angry, you break things. Is this the Torah? No. This is cultural thing. Right? Torah tells us whoever at the time of anger, right? Even if somebody, even if somebody, I think nowadays, now you don't have that anymore. Hangs up on somebody. In the olden days, you would. If somebody slams the door, or hangs up on a phone call without, saying goodbye, etc., etc. The Gemara says it's like Avodah Zarah. That's such an anger that Shekhinah is not in him. It's Samech Mem is leading him, right? But it's some cultural things that we need to overcome, right? So Rav Wolbe says, "V'yeda ne'emanim ha'ba'al b'shat hariv lo mitrakez ela lehefech besavlanut." If he has patience, ubechen umatzliach lahargia et ishto, to be able to calm down his wife, it's a big art, right? This is something that and we said lashon raka tishbor gare. If a woman is bones, right? What could break or bend a bone? It's lashon raka. Lashon raka yani zabun narm. That's what Shalom Bayit says. לשון רכה תשבור גר. הוא מודה לאמת כשהיא צודקת ומתנצל, וגם מחדש קשר האהבה עמה באותו מעמד, זה מקרב את בני הזוג מאוד. This is going to, when he acts in such a way, obviously it's going to bring also closeness. עוד ידיעה אחת נוראה. This is what I said, it's going to blow your, if you have any fuses left, it's going to blow them, the ultimate one. It says, עוד ידיעה אחת נוראה, שייכת לעניין נוראה means awesome, terrible, I don't know, נוראה, how would you translate נוראה? מהיב. So he says, what is that? לפעמים אין הבעל מוצא מאומה בהתנהגותו. Just put on your seatbelts. Sometimes, badbacht, the husband says, what did I do? I cannot find anything wrong that he has done. לפעמים אין הבעל מוצא מאומה בהתנהגותו עמה, שיכול היה לעורר את כעסה של אשתו. What did I do? I really look, I don't know what caused that anger. It wasn't called for. I checked. הנה החידה כתב בספרו מדבר קדמות. I hope I pronounced the name of the sefer properly, one of Chida, in Gedolei Sfarad, from like 350 years ago. So he says something at Pi Kabbalah again. That was Kabbalah, and this is Kabbalah, right? We said, that man is again Chesed, woman is Din, and when Chesed continues to be Mashpia and Din next to Rachamim, this was Kabbalah. There's another teaching of the Mekubalim that they say, he says that what? Talmid Chacham ben Torah kefi shemitnaheg im HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way a Talmid Chacham ben Torah acts with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ken ishto minaheget imo. The same way his wife interacts with him. Do you want to know how are you standing in your relationship with Hashem? See, how's your relationship with your wife? Is your wife happy with you? So then Hashem is happy with you. If your wife is not happy with you, so then that's the indication. I told you it's going to... Wait.
So if you're not happy with your wife, you're
What?
happy with Hashem.
Chida doesn't say that. It doesn't say it's two-way.
There's only one.
No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us, the men. He wants to say to ladies, he loves them anyway. Right? To men, Hashem, he says, I give you, you want to know how you're standing with me? Look, right? כפי שמתנהג עם הקדוש ברוך הוא, כך אשתו מתנהגת עמו. The same way his wife acts with him. וזה סוד מה שאמרו חכמים פרמידם, זכה עזר לא זכה כנגדו. זכה עזר לא זכה כנגדו, שמורדת בו כמו שהוא מורד בקונו. If your wife doesn't listen to you, doesn't follow your instructions, that's a sign that me, not you, I do not follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Should I repeat that, right? He says that what? I told you it's going to blow your fuses, right? He says, right? He says, if he sees that, Kenegdo, she's supposed to be my Ezer, she's supposed to be my helpmate, and she's against me. Apparently you are against Hashem. שמורדת בו כמו שהוא מורד בקונו. She has mutiny against him the same way that he has towards Hashem. וזה הסוד לא שייך אלא לצדיקים. He says this is הקדוש ברוך הוא. It's only for tzadikim, not for us. For tzadikim that's the way it goes. Right? ולזה כל בן תורה שאין אשתו נשמעת לו. So therefore, if a ben Torah sees that his wife doesn't listen to him, she has her own mind, there's no harmony, right? So he says he should not get angry at her. He should do יפשפש במעשיו. אין ראוי להתרעם עליה. כי איהו דאפסיד הנפשה. He is as מוס כברמוס. חודש וחודש עבוד. איהו דאפסיד הנפשה. as מוס כברמוס. אומנם, אם אינו בן תורה, but if a person is not a ben Torah, that's it. You know, if you're talking about the ben Torah, it doesn't have to be a tzaddik, right? If it's not a ben Torah, it's different dynamics. But he says for a ben Torah, this is the reality. A ben Torah has to say, I'm learning Torah, I'm trying to keep the mitzvot. How come? Look to see in what ways we are not right, following Hashem's directives. Hamakor shel achidah. Right, he says the source of what the Chida says, it's hu besefer sabo ha-mekubal ha-eloki. The source is his grandfather that was a very big mekubal. Chida's grandfather. Rabbi Avraham Azulai, besefer chesed la-Avraham, in a sefer called chesed la-Avraham, and he gives the address. Benahar Revi'i, Ayen, right, Yaakov Nahar, whatever. And he says, and over there he says, Kabbalistically is explained. He doesn't go into details, but he says, this is the source. Over there, he explains it, Kabbalistically, I think it has to do with the fact that, you know, women are malchut. It's sfirah of malchut. Right? Even if you don't know, in Kabbalah, women are also malchut. It's sfirot. So it has to do with that. So therefore it's a reflection of our relationship to Borei Olam, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kamuvan, Bishat, obviously, we don't expect a husband at the time when there is this big machloket. He said, well, what did I do against Hashem, right? This is not for, and right there we said, don't get into argument. Don't, try to pour water on the fire. But afterwards, after the fight is over, so then you should try to sit and internalize. He says, כמובן בשעת כעס, אין לבעל לעשות מיד חשבון נפש. He cannot sit down and make calculations and to see in what ways he has shortcomings in his relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. shortcoming does it. It's not there. אין לבעל לעשות מיד חשבון נפש בעניין עבודת בוראו, like when it comes to his inner relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? That what מהי טענת הקדוש ברוך הוא עליו, right? So you know that it's famous. The Gemara says even if there are thunders, there is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the thunders liyasher et ha'akmimut shebalev, in order for us to do tshuva. That's what the Gemara says. That in any kind of tragedy that happens, There is for us, for Bnei Israel, we have to take some kind of, if there's a tsunami, there is a message for us. Anything. Any Rahman al-Islam, they say that when there would be thunders, Chafetz Chaim would go to the window and says, after make a bracha, he says, yes, in Yiddish, we say, Tate, what do I have to do tshuva? What do I have to correct? Right? If there is a thunder, there is a reason. So obviously, if there is a thunder at home, also it's not without reason. He says, he repeats, Ela kodem yevarer hetev. Right? At the time when a machloket comes up, he should first not to get angry. To get angry would be the worst thing to do. Right? Just to say, yes, what did I do wrong? And without being cynical, etc. Let me see. I really want to see if there is something I want to correct myself. So he says, Ela kodem yevarer hetev. Bameh hechsir leishto ma shehigia ela. And he says, what I told you at the beginning, it must be, he says the kas comes when chesed is not mashpia enough to din. Okay? Kaas, anger comes, it's always the fault of chesed. There wasn't enough chesed. Right? And by the way, the Rav Wolbe doesn't talk about this here. You see, it's an intimate relationship also. It's very much like that. Like, over there also, a husband should not be selfish. Right? A lot of husbands, they're very selfish. They're just out there just to, that they have their satisfaction and that's it. Being a Baal Chesed, it's in all areas. Also in the bedroom situation. It's the same thing. We said, she is din. She has to take. And she has to take it. Boyad erzabashe. I don't want to go into, this is out of the thing of, it's also, you see, selfishness a lot of time comes out, right, in the bedroom situation. And I think I told you, my father, always used to say, a lot of Shalom Bayit problems start from there. He says, a lot of Shalom Bayit problems, he always used to say, start from the bedroom. So if the bedroom, it's not, over there, it's also not chesed, that the husband, to make sure that that he's mashpia properly. So then, when the din doesn't get chesed, that calls for anger. So it's our fault. Chatati, aviti, it's our fault. So he says he has to see kodem yivarer hetev bameh hechsir leishto. In what ways he had shortcomings in his relationship with his wife, wasn't giver enough. Right? Rak im b'shum ofen eno motzeh. So then afterwards, when he looks and he contemplates, and he really honestly cannot find that, really, he has been older. He has been given in all areas. If he cannot find anything else, any other reason why this din was mitorer, then he could be toleh. Right? This is only then. You're with me, right? It's not saying always, you say, if there is a fight, so probably I have a problem with Hashem. No. First, when there is a thing, you have to see. Maybe she has points. If she has some points that there were shortcomings on our end, so then it doesn't reflect on our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But if honest to God, a person could maybe even talk to his Rav or to a therapist. I don't know. But if it's 100% determined, right? That determination was made that there was no. He's saying. Right, he says, "Rak im b'shum ofen eno motzeh." If he does not find a reason for this anger that has been arisen, he's really totally innocent. So then, so then you should say, you know what, right? If I can't find any reason for this, so it must be I have some shortcomings in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me messages through my wife that I should do tshuva in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? So you see, it's not automatic. Whenever there is a fight, I'm at fault, and in other words, that should not always. It's an indication that my avodah with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in trouble. Only, right, if I cannot find any logical, objective reason that my shortcomings cause the anger, then he says, only then, right? Right? He says, then he would interpret this that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving him a message to do teshuvah in certain areas. Kol ze rak im ben Torah amitihu. We are talking about a true ben Torah. It's not for everybody. With this discussion and it's a reflection from Hashem, this and that, we are talking about a ben Torah and not somebody who's not observant. Somebody who's a ben Torah, this is applicable. Yes?
Okay, so basically what he's saying is when there's an argument, look in yourself and see if really 100% nothing is your fault, then you tell yourself, oh, maybe I did something, there was a...
Not at the time of the argument.
No, I know, afterwards.
Afterwards, a person should analyze what caused the argument. Was it any shortcomings on my end? And sometimes, a person doesn't see his own shortcomings.
Correct.
That's why I said it would be good to consult with the Rav or,
Right. So
even
afterwards, so he's analyzing and he's fine.
That is totally right.
Okay, which almost is impossible.
Okay,
because no
very
one
good.
is perfect. But let's say even if there's a person that there's nothing wrong on his part, still he has to say it's his fault because it's because of what his relationship was with his God.
That's right.
So
you're always at fault.
We're wrong.
That's right. Very good.
So the women are never wrong.
No, it
That's
doesn't.
it.
No, you see, if he really is not at fault at all, she is wrong. But he should take a personal growth lesson from it, that maybe I have this shortcoming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that she cannot see her mistakes. It doesn't mean that she's always right. No, I said it before. It doesn't mean that she's always right. It doesn't. But it's just a personal growth. There is a personal growth from this, no matter. Right? If I'm at fault, I have to correct myself. If not, so then apparently, and again, we are talking about the true ben Torah.
You're right. But I think eventually, if the thing keeps going, and they pile up.
So he says, "Ve'im omnam asa le'ishto kol ma'aseh chayav hu la'asot." As you said, it's almost impossible that there's no shortcoming on the husband's part. Ve'im kach o kach en ra'u le'yitzra'em aleha. So he says, the bottom line is, don't get mad at your wife that she's wrong when she's wrong. Create some positive energy. Okay, fine. You know what? If she really wronged me, so probably I'm wronging Hashem. Grow from it. Utopia, right? So you see, he concludes, and we're going to finish with this. כתבנו לעיל כי המשפיע שייך למידת החסד. Right? We said the mashpia, the one that gives the shefa, is chesed hamekabel midat adin. Right? שהמשפיע שייך לחסד, it's clear. אך למה מתייחס המקבל למידת הדין? Why? We said ladies are that receive the shefa, they are midat adin. So he says that's also, it's very simple. מי שתכונתו היא להזדקק להשפעה ממי שחייב לתת לו, somebody who, right, somebody that, lives in a situation of that, magia, and it comes to me. I have to get hashpa, I have to get chesed, and they don't get it, right? Who tovea mimnut hashpa? That's making din. You were supposed to give me, you didn't. It becomes din. If these are the rules of the game, that the zachar, which is a mashpia, has to give, that creates expectations, and the receiver ke talabkar bashe. How come you didn't give me? Because in zana hamisha talabkar khalo. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. That means that it did. What is talabkar? Because the husband is supposed to give. Since he's supposed to, it's like somebody's entitled to get welfare and you don't give them. They're going to come back. How come you didn't give me? Where's the check? Where is the check? I am supposed to get this and this from welfare. How come you guys didn't give it to me? This is, and that creates anger. Right? He says, again, מי שתכונתו היא להזדקק להשפעה ממי שחייב לתת לו, הוא תובע ממנו את ההשפעה. ואם הלאה מונע אותה ממנו, if he holds it back from him, הוא כועס עליו. It brings, right, כעס. זוהי תגובה של מידת הדין. This is, right, the reaction of the, you did not, and usually that's the way, تو همش میخوره پدر مادرت, right? به من نمیرسی، این اونا they come first، این اینجوری خرجی نمیدی، این نمیدی، همش طلبکاریه. But this is the way, this is deep, because it's supposed to be. Yes, the husband has to give. No, you are my love, you're number one, my family, everything is number two, you are number one, I'm supposed to provide, you're right, I'm not working enough. This is it. This is chesed, and this is din. Yehi ratzon be'ezrat Hashem that that we should be. Okay. اینجا دین قوی تره, because magia, yes, you're right. Because of the circumstances here, the din is much harsher, right? Zachar is supposed to give to Nekeva, we learned, right? And by doing that, a husband has to be always, he's a giver. No matter how tired he comes home, it shouldn't be, okay, so his wife is going to come, oh, Azizam, bia, chai bukhor, falana, that he's going to, she starts going to, bacheh‌ha man divune kardan, falan, in, because she's din. And she expects the husband he's the boss. He's supposed to provide. That's chesed. And when it's not met, it creates anger. So that's one thing that we learn. And the other thing that we learned is to conclude that if we cannot really find any fault in us, and it's clearly her fault, we should not hold it against her. Even then we say, oh, it's some shortcoming in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings about this thing that she should treat me or mistreat me like this. Utopic formula?
Very.
Rav Wolbe says, this is Bnei Torah. Hashem Yishmor.